Hello and welcome back to another episode. Today you catch me at the end of a really rather busy couple of weeks, and it's been non-stop, but hopefully you'll see some of the fruits of our labours in the near future. So that's something to look out for, maybe even next week, who knows. But today I've managed to carve out some sacred moments to share with you. A crucial element of my life, something that's really genuinely very important to my day-to-day existence, and that is my collection of sunglasses. Now, this is because I've always been very sensitive to different qualities of light and also sudden changes in light. And this is something that you may not have noticed necessarily, you fine folks who watch these videos, because I tend to film indoors, either here in the office or maybe in the living room if I'm playing a computer game on the TV, or maybe upstairs. Normally I'm inside, and I think there's only a couple of videos where I've been outside. So one maybe when I was in the shed making the Bioshock doll. But also the channel trailer at the moment is my review of the graphic novel At the Mountains of Madness, the H.P. Lovecraft classic, where I'm sat in the snow in the dead of winter wearing sunglasses. Now, partly that was for effect, in so much as it did work as a visual. You know, we're talking about Antarctic explorers facing off against the wilds and the unknown of an inhospitable and indifferent landscape. But also it was genuinely something that I needed to do for my own comfort. Put on some sunglasses. Now, this is because, unfortunately, my dad had epilepsy. And I'm not epileptic, but I have seemingly inherited a very particular sensitivity to light. My brother doesn't have this, but I definitely always have. And it manifested early in my life as squinting a lot in childhood photos, but also sneezing. I sneeze. Almost never sneeze once. I almost always sneeze at least 6 times, and it's almost always triggered by a sudden change in light. I'll go from indoors to outdoors. This morning I turned around in the living room and just faced the window with the blinds closed even, and suddenly started sneezing. And the record for this actually was in university. I was attending a lecture on human evolution and sneezed 27 times. Just achoo, achoo. And it got to the point where the whole room was counting. I was sort of, I'm sorry too. And the lecturer was like, well, if Mr. Rassels is quite finished, can we continue? And he was lovely. He's actually, I count him as a friend actually now, but at the time he was very much teasing me about the sneezing. So it manifested in that way. But as I say, it also in a day-to-day way often means that I have a headache, and more often than not means that I have to be just aware of special and strange lighting circumstances. And this means that as soon as I had any sway over my person in terms of a bit of pocket money, I started wearing sunglasses. Now, early on, sunglasses that I could get my hands on tended to be fairly generic sunglasses, and they were a bit like these sunglasses here, and you can tell I haven't worn them for a while because they're just so incredibly dusty. Look at that. And yeah, they sort of suit my head shape, but also they're not quite right. They sort of, you know, the arm here sits halfway down the frame, and it doesn't really go over my ear. It's not quite right at all. But my dad actually used to wear very similar sort of aviator style sunglasses, and he had a very similar shape and size head. So I figured, well, this must be the way to go. But actually, I've come to realise that these sunglasses, while functional, although actually not particularly great in terms of their UV rating, because they tend to come from a garage and they're just sort of made for anyone and everyone. While functional, they're not really me. They don't really, you know, if this is something I'm going to be wearing almost every time I go outside, I want it to be fun, something that's a bit more, well, a bit less rather generic. And so actually in recent years, I guess starting a few years ago now, I started to investigate and experiment with different shaped sunglasses. First of all, I went for the classic steampunk, sort of circular, John Lennon maybe, but actually I was very much inspired by, actually, for example, the character of Alucard in Helsing. I love these sort of yellow glasses, and it just felt better to have something that was a bit more interesting, and also something that I wasn't so self-conscious wearing. I was actually clearly choosing to look a bit more distinct as opposed to hiding behind sunglasses, if that makes sense. So I started with these, and actually you'll notice that in the review for At the Mountains of Madness, I'm wearing sunglasses that have black lenses instead of these purple ones, or these sort of gradiated purple ones, and I've put some wire and sort of coiled cable on the side, because actually they broke. So I fixed them in a sort of vaguely steampunky kind of way, and then I went and left that set of sunglasses in Munich airport, of all places. And when I called them up when I got home, they were long gone, because they're just too darn cool. So I started with that sort of thing, and then more recently I've been drawn to seeking out sunglasses when I see an interesting pair that I'm intrigued by. So this is a jump back to the aviator style, but they're beautifully purple. Look at that. And you can sort of see through the lens in the right angle with the light at the right angle behind me. But I quite like this style of sunglasses with the purple lenses. But the biggies, or my two favourites, I suppose I should say, in recent years have been this one with the clear frames. I got this from a shop called TK Maxx. I probably wear these the most at the moment, because again they're a bit different, but they're also not necessarily as attention grabbing as your steampunk goggle look, as it were. So I quite like these. They're again, there's something that I'm choosing to make a statement with. There's something I'm choosing to actually adorn myself with, as opposed to just merely hiding from the light. But then there's these, which are probably my favourites, but not my most worn, if that makes sense. So these I wear the most, and they're pretty good. But these are probably my favourites, and that is very special sunglasses that are entirely made of a see-through substance. So I can see through this bit here, and I could see through this bit here if I really wanted to. And I had to import these from California. It was the only place that I could find them online for a mere $10 per set. Apparently they're in Walmart, but I couldn't import them from Walmart. I had to get them from a Californian optometrist or something. And I like these so much, partly because they're pretty cool, but also I first noticed them in the TV series Z Nation. Murphy is wearing a smoked plastic version of these in the final season of that show, and they're magnificent. And I love them so much, I actually went on to buy 2 more pairs. They're in a box just over there, because if I ever lose these, I don't want to have to re-import them. We've got 3 pairs of these in total. So there you go, my sunglasses collection. Something that isn't typical, I suppose, but for me is absolutely crucial to my day-to-day existence. And I'm really pleased that over the years I've learned to go from merely functional sunglasses, or indeed barely functional sunglasses, to sunglasses that are playful, that are intentional, that have something to say, and that feel like something that I'm choosing to do, rather than something that I'm needing to do, or merely needing to do. Hopefully this has been vaguely interesting in some capacity. As ever, guys, until next time, do take care. Bye bye.